What's up, you guys? I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. Let's see here. Everybody hear me all right? What's up? What's up? How's everybody's day? What's up, Tyler? I feel like my camera looks like mega dark right now, and I don't know why. 25 today. There you go, Tyler. There you go. T-Money. Yes, sir. That is some T-Money right there. All right. Yeah, give me just a second here. My apologies if you can hear my dog going crazy right now. But cam is okay. Gotcha. I had to go to Live Money this morning, but my account was blocked. That is extremely odd. Well, yeah. Got it figured out though. I was gonna say, did you call support or anything like that? But sweet. All right, so tonight's lesson is obviously going to be the charting session. We do this every single Monday night, so those of you that have been here already know what's going on. Those of you that have not been here, welcome. And yeah, so I do want to go ahead and go over the trades we took today. Overall, I'm not disappointed with the execution whatsoever. However, there's a couple things that I wish I would have done differently in hindsight. Obviously, it's always easier looking at the chart from right to left, but yeah. So this morning we were looking at this 290 level on Tesla. It was the after hours low after we gapped down over the weekend. And I actually took this on the second candle of the day, which did end up faking out. But overall, what I was looking at here was this 5-minute candle that had gone green to red. And the fact that we fully engulfed our opening candle was something that I was definitely a fan of. And we did end up getting a bounce on this. We ended up rejecting 293 pretty aggressively here, coming down and breaking 290. Now, I will say contracts were actually up nicely on this 290 break, except with my plan and with it being a Monday and knowing that contracts hold their value a lot better, I really wanted to give this a chance to see the plan through and not just cut my trade basically as soon as my original entry level was broken, because we did get a really nice entry on this first play. And yeah, like I said, I just wanted to give it a chance to see if we could get any more continuation. Unfortunately, we ended up bouncing on this and ended up stopping out at 292, which overall was less than, I believe it was 8.7% was the stop for me. So not too bad. Like I said, technically you could have taken profits there, and I know some people in the chat did, especially the smaller accounts. And we do always stress to smaller accounts, when you are up nicely on a trade, there's no need to really risk much, especially if you have a small account and you can only afford one contract, or you can only afford one trade. Those base hits are going to be locking in a lot of profits for you and, you know, grinding that account up one step at a time. But for me, I was willing to take the risk. 293 was going to be my stop loss regardless, so ended up saving about $1 on my stop. And yeah, now we did take a re-entry on this here at, let me check the signals chat real quick. So we did take a re-entry on this at 944, which was this candle right here. We ended up getting in on this close to 291.50, which once again, fantastic entry. Could not have got a better entry there. We had the confirmations we needed. The 5-minute was doing what it needed to do as well. We had a green to red candle on the 5-minute here as well. And this is when they finally gave up this 60-cent level that they had been holding and respecting extremely well. Finally gave this up. We saw the rejection on the next candle, which is a huge green flag. We did come down for 290 break once again, broke it just by a couple cents. Came back here, rejected 291, and then that's where they started getting aggressive here. Now, we had a 1-minute trend that was lined up literally exactly at 288.77. And up until this point, we had had no help from InQ whatsoever. And actually, InQ and ES were basically doing the exact opposite of what we needed them to do at all points throughout both of these trades. So the fact that InQ is finally starting to do what we needed it to do in order to help us out a little bit. I did scale out a half of my position on the break of the low, so ended up getting filled right around 290 or 289.20 on that. And since InQ is finally doing what it needed to do to help us, I wanted to give this a chance and see, since they pulled that 1 minute trend, if we could start getting more aggressive on this. Now, ended up not getting any more aggressive on the stock, obviously, as you can see here. We ended up coming back up here, and I stopped out on the rest of my contracts here at 290.61. So basically break even on the rest of the contracts, green on the first half. I think with the price action we were given, we did a really good job of execution today, and everybody managed their risk extremely well. But overall, could have been a cleaner day. I do wish I would have just taken profits at that trend, obviously, once again, in hindsight. But yeah, that's really the only thing that I would change there from our trades today. Now, moving on to the charting itself here, we're going to go through my watch list from A to Z. Going to see what I like for tomorrow, what I'm not liking for tomorrow, and possibly the rest of the week. Now, also, we usually have some time left over after I get done charting and making the watch list. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to answer those questions. And also, just want to get this out at the beginning here. If you guys are not in the floor and you want to join the floor to trade live with me every day, click this first link in the description here. Use code FIRST at checkout and you're going to get 40% off of your sign up. So yeah, now that all that's out of the way, let's get to it here. Already just checked out Apple. I'm not a huge fan of anything on that. AMD. We could look at low of day from today, but I'm not really a big fan of how we ended up holding this 134.06 level. We held it twice today, actually. Han, I will get there momentarily. We're going through A to Z here, so wherever Meta ends up in that lineup. Meta's definitely on my watch list, so we will check that out here in a few. Amazon, it's unfortunate. I used to love this stock. I haven't traded it in forever, and I don't think I've traded it more than once within a year's time span since the split. It's just not had great price action. Even if it's had okay setups, the price action has just not been great. AVGO, probably not for tomorrow, but overall, I'm still a massive fan of this 277.71 resistance. This is the all-time high, I believe. Yeah, this is the all-time high for AVGO. It's also now going to be a perfect flat top once we approach this level again. So that's going to be in the sights for however long it needs to be before we get this set up, or before we actually see the trade play out. I love AVGO. BA, once again, massive fan of. I like how we ended up pushing here towards the end of day, and we closed relatively close to the level we're looking at here. Now, this is not all-time highs. This is just yearly highs. So yearly highs, still important, not as important as an all-time high, but definitely something to be watching, because BA has a hard time with contract volume the majority of the time, but when there's a setup like this, volume on the contracts are usually solid, volume on the stock is usually solid, and the spreads do get a lot better than they typically are on a regular basis. JJ, I'll put it right here in the chat. I wonder if I can pin. Here, sorry. It's code FIRST. So FIRST in all caps. me see if I can pin this. I can pin this. Look at that. Look at that. I'm advancing in my technological use here. But yeah, BA, big fan of this. Like I said, spreads get tighter, volume gets better overall between the stock and the contracts. It gets a lot cleaner at these important levels. So I love how we closed at the end of day. After that rally we basically had for the past hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Looks like we're making a beautiful inverse H pattern here into that high. So if they can hold it up around this area, absolutely a fan of BA. Love that setup. I actually had that on the watch list for today, but it was just too far away. Next up, coin, not a huge fan. And I did talk about this last night at the Sunday night weekly prep lesson. I talked about this 360.45 level. If we could get above and hold above, I would have expected us to see these highs extremely soon, but we ended up breaking above and faking out. So there's a possibility we could see some pretty aggressive downside, but right now it does actually look like they are still trying to hold this up and possibly clear that 360.45 level. Not something I'm looking to trade, but something I'm just keeping my eye out for. So I know when we're getting closer to the high. So the high on coin is the next thing I'm interested in. 360.45 is an important area, but not something I'm looking to trade. Costco, I'm all good. CRM, I'm all good. Might be fairly quick on the charting side of things here, just because a lot of these, DAL has earnings, I believe pre-market on Thursday. Let me check. Yeah, DAL has earnings pre-market on Thursday, so that's going to be off the list up until then at least. And if we do have a setup on DAL, that would be fantastic, because every time we've traded that post earnings, it has given us an absolute banger, like 40% plus, no drawdown, like no hassle, nothing to worry about. So if we could get a solid setup on that, I would definitely be down to trade DAL, which is typically a stock that is way below the price range I typically like to trade in. But yeah, those earnings plays just hit different on DAL. For whoever asked what my thoughts on Meta are, I scalped, oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, we scalped the high of day on Meta today as well. We took it at this flat top at 724.33. I took off half of my position here at 725. Other half I saved for the 726 break. Nothing crazy, but it was just a nice little scalp to end the day there. But my thoughts on Meta are the same as my thoughts on Meta yesterday were. And if you weren't at the lesson last night, I've actually had these supports on Meta on my watch list for quite a few days now. Maybe not in my watch list that I actually type out just because it was too far away, but I've had this Meta, all these supports here on Meta on watch for a hot minute now. So I'm personally not interested on Meta until we get down to these supports at 711.80, 711.05, and all the supports below that. I'm definitely interested in. We're a little far right now. We are $8 away. And then maybe if we get an intraday setup, I might scalp it. But as far as a big trade goes, I'm not looking for anything until 711.80 to the downside. Next up, we've got Marvel, which sold off crazy today, but I believe is lacking in the contract volume department. So I'm definitely going to pass up on that. And really the only thing to play on this is just low of day from today. So if I'm going to play low of day from something, I want it to be a bigger stock with more liquidity anyways. So not too worried about that. MSTR, unfortunately, I'm not seeing anything here either that I'm a fan of. Obviously, it looks like we're rounding out here at the top. It looks like we're going to come back down, but it's just kind of messy right now. It doesn't seem like it's picked a direction yet. And when it does pick the direction, and when we do, or if we do see this downside, it's not clean enough right now for me to even put on my watch list, really. But once it picks the direction, it's most likely going to be aggressive enough that we're not going to be able to catch it anyways, if it's not already on the watch list ahead of time. Because like as of right now, the only thing I could look at on MSTR would be after hours low at 394.03, where they've just been taking things sideways. And so knowing that, I don't have the most confidence in that, especially like I said, given the range that we are still way too close for comfort in, and also the fact that it's FOMC week and we already saw, well, FOMC minutes week, and we already saw some chop today, if I'm being honest. That was pretty indecisive price action. Now, was it completely untradeable? No, but was it ideal? Also, definitely not. So, yeah. I do. That's such a battle because I really do think MSTR has a lot of downside potential here. Like it could get really aggressive really quickly. It's just that one might be up in the air for a side watch because it definitely could get dicey below that level. It's just not in the cleanest of areas right now. I just don't really trust the price action. Nvidia, man, everything's just sideways. That's disgusting. I swear, every time I do these streams, my dog just has to put on the biggest show and like make as much noise as possible. So once again, my apologies if you guys can hear that, but he looks like he's taking a nap now, so we should be good. Oracle here, kind of the same story as MSTR, except the area we're in is not so gross looking, to be honest with you. So Oracle, if we have contract volume, I would be interested on this to the downside. 229.50. I know it's low of day, but we had a huge run up here and basically no real areas of concern up until what? What is that? 223.55. I wouldn't be holding it for that long by any means, but really, I mean, if you're looking at this, we really don't have any areas of concern until 223.55. I would start to pay more attention in the 226.50, 227 area, just in case we start hesitating. Because if we do, we could see a bounce in that area. It wouldn't completely shock me. But yeah, once again, this is one of those that just kind of peaked out and it looks like it's ready to just take a dive here. So Oracle, I actually like. And there was good contract volume on it today, so I'm a fan of that as well. PLTR. PLTR is in kind of a messy area here. We still do have room on it though, just not a ton. Like these wicks right here, typically I don't mark anything out from the body of the candle, but in between this range right here, I would definitely not be surprised if we saw a pretty aggressive rejection. So I don't know that it would even be worth looking at because that gives us what, 70 cents of room. What is that at? Is that, yeah, 139.29. That gives us 70 cents of room on a Tuesday. I don't know that that's worth it. I think I'm gonna pass on that. Roblox making new all-time highs. That's crazy. They broke out of a daily uptrend, daily topside uptrend at that. That's kind of crazy. Still absolute. I was going to use a different phrasing here, but still absolutely terrible contract volume. So there's no point in even looking at it. But yeah. Moving on. Roku, garbage. Shop. Nah, that's gross. As soon as I drop time frames on that, that looks disgusting. All right. Moving on. SMCI. Looks like we are forming somewhat of a flat bottom here, but also it's definitely a little bit of an uptrend as well. We did break the uptrend that we had today. So if we get aggressive into low of day from today, SMCI actually looks super clean. I would probably take it at low of day, play it through 4607, which is the next major support here, and then probably target this 4552 trend on the 1 hour, which obviously in the morning, it's going to have more room than it does right now because, you know, the longer the trend goes on, the further down or up it goes, depending on the direction of the trend. But yeah, SMCI actually looks really good. That's going to be marked for sure. What makes it clean? Okay, let me go back to shop real quick. And I'll just go right here. You see how this looks like a heart rate monitor and also is gapping up, gapping down constantly, like just super low volume, super just like you look at the chart and you're like, what is that? That is not clean. That is not clean at all. Now, when we look at SMCI on the 15-minute, you can see, I mean, there's still, every stock is going up and down, right? But there's direction. There is points where we have direction, and overall, everything is either grinding up, grinding down, grinding up, you know, aggressively selling off, but we're not gapping up every other candle. We actually have volume on the stock. We have volume on the contracts. That is what I'm referring to when I say that looks disgusting, is like, okay, it's either straight sideways and actually looks like a heart rate monitor or a barcode, or it looks like this where we just have candles that are just gapping up constantly, gapping down constantly. Like half the candles here aren't even connected. It's just gross. And it's not really moving anywhere either. It's just overall aggressively moving up and down just to go sideways. So yeah, when I see charts like that, it immediately turns me off of whatever setup there is on the stock, to be honest with you. All right, let's see here. So yeah, SMCI, definitely like that. Looks good. And then I believe the last thing that we've probably got a chance on here is Tesla. We'll go through snow just in case. Yep, nope. Nope. It did make a high at 225 though, actually. That doesn't look horrible, but let's see. This is the yearly high. Sorry. It is the yearly high. It is not the all-time high. But you kind of like the 220. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 226. And yeah, now that I'm looking at that, does not look as good as it does on like the 30-minute. Yeah, I'll pass on that for sure. T-Mobile, I am all good on this, although it is kind of forming the same type of pattern that Oracle and MSTR have. Overall, this stock has absolutely god-awful volume on the contracts and on the stock. Actually, really not on the stock. The stock is fine, kind of. Oh no, I take that back. No, god-awful volume on the stock and the contracts. Last time I really paid attention to this was after earnings. So there was volume that day, but no, I'm good. And then Tesla, old Tesla, basically back where we started. Actually, what was, okay, we did close the day green, but yeah, Tesla, I'm actually not interested in anything on this. So that's a little odd not having it on the watch list, but I'm all good on that. So it looks like we've got AVGO, BA, Meta, possibly. I mean, Meta's far, but it's definitely going to go on the watch list regardless. Possibly Microsoft, Oracle, and SMCI. So AVGO is a possibility for sure. It definitely can make that move with no problem. It's just a matter of are they going to or not. BA is extremely close, so I'm definitely expecting that one, and it's probably going to go towards the top of the watch list. Meta, kind of far right now. Don't exactly know when it's going to happen, but I'm writing it out regardless. Like I said, Microsoft, kind of the same story, and then Oracle, kind of the same story. So everything's a little far, but not to the point where it's completely or inconceivable there. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete all this, and we will get to creating the watch list right now. I am gonna go ahead and just copy paste the trade idea from Meta today because it is exactly the same. BA, also exactly the same, but I am going to add okay. All right, we're gonna pin this here. We're gonna bring BA back up, and then let's see. Creating an inverse H pattern after hours. Looking to enter at the after hours high, and the main level I'm focusing on is the 218.87 1-year high, targeting momentum above the 220 break. Beautiful. All right, there's BA. AVGO, same as it was, I believe. Oh no, it's not. AVGO, I'm just gonna be AVGO looking at the 277.71 all-time high, targeting a move through 278, and the 15-minute trend is giving us room to 279. Looking for a possible early entry at the high of day from today at 277.56. All right, there's AVGO. All right, we got AVGO, we got BA, we got Meta. Next up, we have Microsoft. Microsoft, I believe, maybe I haven't written anything out for this yet. So Microsoft, looking at the 513 resistance, playing this through the, I believe that's the all-time high. Give me a second. Yeah, that is the all-time high. All right, playing this through the all-time high at 576. Looking for a possible early entry at the 500 break if we have a wall on level 2 and are showing clear strength compared to the markets. target on this? I would probably look to target 501, but honestly, I might just target the momentum above 576 because that should technically take us through 501. But I'll go ahead and put here targeting the 501 break, and then that should cover us. If you're either in the chat and trading with me or know how to read price action, you guys are going to know when to get out anyways. So yeah, that should be good enough. All right, Oracle. Looking at the 299.50 support. We peaked out on this and looks like we are getting ready to sell off pretty heavily. Targeting a move to 228, and we have room to, sorry, let me just double check here because I do want to make note of that area that I said if we see a bounce I would not be surprised. Like the 227.50 area. If we see any hesitation on this around 227.50, I will be looking to get out ASAP. No Rocky. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna put that, but all right, and then overall on this, we have room to $223.55 on the higher time frames. Beautiful. 299 on Oracle. It's 229. Did I put 299? I did. My bad. 229. It happens. It happens. It happens. All right, and then the last thing we've got here is SMCI. Let's see. SMCI at 46.07. I would probably take it at low of day from today at 46.22. So once again, that's all going to depend on the type of price action we're seeing leading up to this level. So I know I'm blocking the chart here, but SMCI looking at the 46.07 support as my main entry level, targeting a move to our next support break at 45.73. Below this, we have easy room to fall up until $45.14. Wait, I'm sorry. No. 44.62. I would imagine that's all coming through the mic. So once again, my apologies, but let's see. All right, up until 44.62. Looking for a possible early entry at low of day from today at 46.22, as long as we are seeing the right momentum / weakness. Beautiful. All right, that's the watch list I've got for tomorrow. Not a ton of setups, but honestly, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna have to completely throw out like 5 setups in the morning. So I do like that. I'm gonna go ahead and color code these real quick. you know, upside versus downside plays. And then I'll rearrange them in order to the best of my ability of favorite to least favorite. I mean, they're all good setups, or I wouldn't put them on the watch list. So yeah, it's going to end up being more of a question of, do we have volume or not? Oracle, actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, Oracle is going to get a move up for sure, just because it is closer. And then I'm going to actually put SMCI up above Microsoft as well, just because I feel like SMCI has cleaner movements than Microsoft. So yeah, Microsoft has clean moves, don't get me wrong. It has clean moves like right off open, but also I feel like SMCI has a more steady stream of volume on a, you know, day-long basis. So yeah, but that's my watch list for tomorrow and the remainder of this week. We do have plenty of time left in the lesson if you guys want to turn this into a Q&A. We've got 8 people in here right now, so if any of you guys have any questions for me, whether it's about trading, whether it's about the floor, whether it's about any of these setups, or any stocks you want me to take a look at, then feel free to ask me, and I am happy to stick around as long as you would like me to. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this up here on the screen. If you guys want this watch list and you're not in the floor, screenshot it now, plot the levels on your own. Don't miss out on them, because like I said, if you guys are here from Threads, all of those on my watch list from last week totaled out to right around over 120% in returns. So if you were to catch all of them. So definitely don't sleep on the watch list. You go over your trading setup and screen layouts. I can go over my screen layouts for Thinkorswim. All right, so I don't know why I just switched time frames on that. So my trading, I'll actually go ahead and start on the main chart here. So the main chart, obviously, you guys just watched me chart the entire charting session on this. The main chart is what I use for all of my charting purposes, because I can see more, I don't have to move around as much, and I also don't need to see anything other than what I'm looking at in static right now, because that's really the only time I use this, is just for charting. So this is my charting layout. All I've got down here is the volume. I do have time and sales pulled up over here, just super small, just in case I do switch over to this chart to look at something real quick. But this is literally just my charting chart. I don't have this open usually whenever I'm trading. My execution screen here, or that's what I call it. I don't execute through TOS, but this is my execution screen. Now you'll see I have 3 different charts here. It's all the same stock. They're all linked to the same thing. Now they're all linked to the same thing because I want to be able to see multiple time frames of the stock that I'm watching at the same time without having to switch back and forth between time frames. Now, up here on the top left, and you guys can mix and match these however you want to fit your trading setup the best. But I have this at the top left here because this is my 1 minute chart, and the 1 minute chart is what I am always paying attention to when I'm taking an entry on a trade. So if I'm taking an entry on a trade, I'm always watching the 1 minute when I'm entering that trade. Now, I may be giving the trade more weight on a different time frame, but I want to be able to see what's going on the time frame that is giving the most amount of information as possible, and that is the 1 minute in this scenario. So on this, I also have the volume with the algo on it here, and I have the time and sales open right here. So I have my time and sales, I have my volume with the algo, and I have my chart, the 1 minute chart right here. And the reason I have it at the top left is because if you guys were here with me in person, if you look directly right there to the left, that is where my interactive brokers is set up. So my interactive brokers is up there. I can see everything. I can see the 1 minute chart. I can see the volume. I can see the time and sales, and I can see my execution buttons, P&L, all that good stuff, all by looking at the same spot. So that's why I have it up here. If you guys have a different type of layout, move it wherever. But this is the 1 minute chart, and it never changes. Now, the middle chart here, obviously, same stock, but I usually cycle the middle chart between the 5 minute or the 15 minute time frames, just depending on what has trends that I need to watch out for. And then I also have level 2 down here. I usually pay more attention to interactive level 2, but I do like having this pulled up down here as well because I really don't need the chart to take up the entire middle of the screen here. I don't have the volume algo on this chart because I don't need it because I'm watching it on the 1 minute right here. So yeah, the middle chart always cycles between the 5 minute and the 15 minute. And then if you look over here to the right chart, this is, once again, same stock. It always cycles between either the 30 minute or the 1 hour. Occasionally, depending on what the stock is looking like the morning of, I may put it on the daily or the 4 hour for just a minute so I can see what it looks like when we open, or just how it's looking overall on these larger time frames. But 99.9% of the time, it's either on the 30 minute or the 1 hour chart. And then I guess sometimes if we don't have trends on the 30 minute or the 1 hour, I might have this on the 5 minute and switch this to the 15. But this top left, always the 1 minute. This in the middle, always 5 minute or 15 minute. This on the right is always either 30 minute or 1 hour. And then occasionally, daily or 4 hour, or maybe even 15 minute, just depending on the day. But it's very rare that I change that. So yeah, that's why I have it like that. I want to be able to see the same stock from multiple different perspectives at the same time. I think a big part of trading and a big part of handling your emotions while trading is being able to look at something from more than just one perspective. And I think it's difficult to do that when you're only looking at it from your perspective and only looking at it on one time frame. Because what might look awful on the 1 minute might look really good on the 5 minute. Or what might look really good on the 5 minute looks horrible. Or I'm sorry, what might look really horrible on the 5 minute looks really good on the 1 minute. So you're just seeing different things from different perspectives. And I always, if I'm in a trade that's longer than like 30 seconds, because I don't even have time to in trades like that, but if I'm in a trade that's longer than that, I'm trying to look at it from every single possibility of why would I either not take this, or why would I not be in this, or would there be anything here that would make me want to take this to the opposite direction? So I'm trying to look at it from multiple perspectives, not just relying on like, oh, this has to play, this has to go, right? And a lot of the times, if we're taking the right setups, you're looking at it on all the time frames and you're seeing, okay, would I take this to the other direction? No. Is there anything I'm not liking about it? Maybe. But what would it have to do to make me like it even more, if that makes sense? So I think that's something that a lot of people need to work on if they haven't before, is just looking at things from a different perspective. And I believe, for me personally, this is the best layout that you can have in order to do that. I see people that have their flexible grid set up where they have 3 charts that are all different stocks, or 6 charts that are all different stocks. You're going to gain absolutely nothing from looking at the 1 minute time frame on 6 different stocks, because I promise you, the majority of you guys can barely handle one trade at a time. And no offense, but that's just, and me included, honestly, I've taken more than one trade at once and it's fine. But like, in order to really properly manage a trade that isn't just going directly in your favor right as soon as you get in, you cannot be looking at multiple different stocks, managing multiple different trades all at the same time when you're trading the way that we trade. And once again, 99% of you guys cannot handle more than one trade. So why are you looking at 6 different stocks on a 1 minute time frame? Makes absolutely no sense. And then also here, I'm gonna move my camera down here. So the InQ chart I have at the bottom left corner of my screen, I always keep this on the 1 minute because I do have InQ pulled up on my other screen here. I have InQ and ES both pulled up. And the reason I keep this bottom left one on the 1 minute is because if for some reason I have something blocking my other screen, or I have, maybe I have OBS pulled up, something like that, I just want to be able to get a quick glance and see what the 1 minute on InQ is doing compared to my stock. Because really, when I'm looking at InQ, obviously the bigger picture matters for sure. But when I'm looking at InQ when I'm in a trade, it's pretty much a candle by candle basis of, is my stock doing what it needs to be doing compared to the market right now? Or is it starting to show some signs of possibly being weighed heavier in the opposite direction? So I do like having InQ down here on the bottom left corner. I feel like that is helpful for me, even though I do have it on another screen as well. And then also down here, you guys can see on the sidebar, I obviously have my big watch list up top. I have my main watch list, which is the watch list I use for the stocks that I'm specifically looking at for that day. And then I have news on the stock that I have pulled up, and then I have the scratch pad down there at the bottom left. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and explain my watch lists as well. So that big watch list you're seeing up at the top left, that has every stock that I go through on a daily basis and look at, right? Those are all the stocks that are on my watch list. They've been on my watch list for years. They're gonna stay on my watch list for years. There's a few that are probably gonna go sooner than later just because they have volume that is dwindling down pretty quickly. But yeah, that big watch list is linked to the big chart. So the first chart I showed you, big watch list is linked to the big chart. If I click on a stock on there, it's going to pull it up on the big chart. The main watch list, which you see in the middle there, which only has 4 stocks on it right now, which is what I was watching today. If you click on one of those, it's going to change my flexible grid charts. So I do have a full video on this on the Floors YouTube channel. I think I'm going to re-upload that video on my channel as well, just because we barely have any subscribers on the Floor channel. So I feel like it would do more good if it was on mine as well. But T, you're in the chat, so go to the library tab, and it's linked in there if you want to watch that video. And I don't know if I can link videos to a stream in post, like after it's uploaded, but if I can, I'll go ahead and drop that link up there as well, and you guys can get there from that. But yeah, so that's my my TOS layout. What about your buy/sell buttons on interactive? Also, what algo are you using? So it basically just repaints the candles depending on what sort of short-term trend you're in. So all the candles you're seeing that are the color red, that does not mean that they are red candles. All the candles, regardless of the color, if they're filled, they are red candles. If they are hollow, they are green candles. Like I said, regardless of what color they're showing you. The green candles indicate that we are in a short-term uptrend. The red candles indicate that we are in a short-term downtrend. And those arrows that you're seeing are not signal entry magic arrows that tell you the perfect spot to enter a stock. Those arrows are literally just getting put on the chart as we are changing trends. So once the trend is fully confirmed as being changed, that's when the arrow is fully confirmed and staying there. The arrow will show up and go away a million times if you're teetering back and forth between being in an uptrend and a downtrend. So those arrows are not entry signal arrows, magic arrows that people are going to make ads for on Instagram and try and sell you, you know, some magic algorithm that's going to make you a perfect trader and never make you miss a trade again. Also, buy sell buttons on Interactive. I use the book trader on Interactive, and on Interactive you can go in there and make your own custom presets. So my buy, I typically buy and sell market anyways. How do I have that? Yeah, I'll go. T, you're in the chat. Just message me in the chat and I'll drop it all in there. It's also all online if you want to just look it up. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what I had to look up to get it, but it's all online somewhere. You can look up. It's based off of the super trend. So if you look up like super trend algo for Thinkorswim, you'll probably find it online. Same thing as like support and resistance algo for Thinkorswim. If you look it up, you'll find the code online. But either way, just message me in the chat and I'll get it to you. Does it work for Webull? No, it does not. It only works for TOS. I don't know that Webull lets you put anything special on your charts, do they? I've never messed around with Webull other than just downloading the app and getting my free stock that was worth like 57 cents. All right, no confirmation, no, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if you can even put anything special on Webull. I don't believe that you can. But if you do want to get Thinkorswim, even if it's just for your charts, because like I said, I don't use Thinkorswim for my execution. I have always used Thinkorswim for my charts. So just, it's completely free. And when they were going on the switch from being owned by TD Ameritrade to being owned by Charles Schwab, they did close a lot of accounts that just weren't active or didn't have anything in them really. So I would just put just something in there. I think I literally have like a few bucks in my TOS account because I just don't use it for anything. And it just, yeah, you can use it for free and it's awesome. Oh, got you, T. Will do. But yeah, that's my TOS layout. Like I said, that video is on the Floors YouTube channel. If you're in the chat, you can find it in the library tab. And if you're not in the chat, once again, hold on, gotta bring the camera back on screen for this. If you're not in the chat, once again, first link in the description, right there. It says trade live with me. Click on that. Use code FIRST at checkout. And you're gonna get 40% off your sign up. So use the code while it's still there. But yeah. Does anybody have any final questions for me here? And before I forget, I need to post the watch list in chat. Give me 1 second here. All right. There we go. Boom. Oh, wait. I already sent it in the chat. I'm crazy. Wow. Look at me go. I actually remembered. But yeah, all right, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for sticking around. And yeah, make sure you get these levels plotted out and these plans written down. Keep them in your watch list if you are not trading with us. And if you guys actually aren't trading with us and you catch any of these, I would love to know. So DM me on Instagram, DM me on, or tag me or something on Threads, whatever you got to do. But yeah, if you guys catch any of these, that would be sick to see. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Once again, thanks for sticking around. Use the code, first link in the description, and I will see you first thing in the morning for pre-market review at 9 a.m.